Hey, I'll do a mic test, so you might hear echo. There we go. Got the mic test. Great. Awesome. We're all right. Cool. So, hello everyone. Welcome to another stream from Keobastein. I see it's been about 2 weeks since I streamed. It's gonna be the same thing. Life just kind of getting in the way and whatnot. But I also have kind of found myself somewhat in a bit of a, let's just say, low morale, if you will. Yeah, I'm gonna say low morale. Some things real life just hasn't been going as planned, and I find myself being difficult to commit to anything because of the fact that, for starters, I need more money. So I don't even think I want to try to do a daily stream because if I get a secondary job, the odds of me streaming consistently will be even worse than what it is right now. And considering my current track record, which is I stream on a random fucking day, you can kind of probably understand why I hesitate to even say, hey guys, here's where I'm going to stream again. Because if I get that second job to get that extra bread, yeah, me streaming is not going to be a very likely possibility. But that's not to say life has not been good. There's been things that have been nice and enjoyable and whatnot. But I haven't found myself being actually. Let me just say right now, when it comes to me currently in fighting games right now, because that's actually what I kind of want to fucking talk about right now with me in fighting games. Don't get worried. I'm still your fighting game connoisseur. I'm still into fighting games more or less, but. I guess the funny story I want to bring up is there was this YouTuber who I used to like to watch a lot because of his personality. His name was Naderista, and he actually finally came back after almost maybe 2-3 months hiatus. And most for his video, or his video that was focused on fighting game, he actually went out to say that, you know what, he's pretty much not that much feeling current today fighting games. He felt fighting games have been letting him down, and when I personally when I first watched that, I'm like, how can fighting be let down? We got more fighting games coming out with rollback. There are more companies now that wants to make fighting games, sorta, or at least I can say sorta. Anime fighting games are sort of coming back into prominence thanks to what our social work is doing and whatnot. I mean, Melted Blood is bad. We got Guilty Gear Strive and whatnot. Is this really a bad time fighting game? Hey, we got Dungeon Fire Doodle that just kind of dropped. But after watching his video and hearing how he said he's just not really enjoying fighting games, and then after I reflect on that video and then saw what I was doing for the past week with fighting games, especially when Dungeon Fire Duel came out, I kind of realized, actually, I agree with him. I'm not really currently enjoying fighting games. Right now, I got Dungeon Fighter Duel. I got maybe 4 hours on this game. I know it would have been like, well, a new fighting game came out, Keobastein. God fucking damn. So a new fighting game just came out, Keobastein. What's your word on? What's your impression? My impression is I'm unimpressed. I really don't care for Dungeon Fighter Duel, as far as I'm concerned. The only reason I even interact with Dungeon Fighter Duel is because I have friends that actually interact with this game or are interested in this game. I got one person from the Phantom Breaker who's interested in playing the game. I got my actual close friends who's interested in Dungeon Fighter Duel. But am I particularly interested in Dungeon Fighter Duel? Not really. I can't really say I have my full of the game yet because it's only been 5 hours. But my same feelings for the game hasn't changed since the second beta. I mean, to be fair, I wasn't that much interested in the second beta because there wasn't a training mode. Now that I finally got training mode, I was like, oh man, now I can finally figure out what this game's mechanics do and how much this game can open up. The game barely opens up the fuck at all. It's really just, we got characters who could do this obnoxious thing, have fun with that. And it's not interesting to me. The thing, or better, how to say this, I can only have fun if I'm playing Crusader. I can only have fun if I'm playing with the other character who I did try, which was Lost Warrior. But that novelty of playing with those characters, whereas, oh, you know that I definitely bounce off my characters after a long period of time. Like a Kingdom Hearts. Since I played Kamui for so fucking long, I eventually got to the point where, like, I am fucking tired of this character now. But I found Yuriko and like, oh dang, I can have fun with Kingdom Hearts again. But granted, I'm going to back first right. Kingdom Hearts is also a great game. Like I can explore Kingdom Hearts, and it's just that cool and fun. Like Kingdom Hearts just does so many interesting things, both with the characters as well as the system mechanic and with the Arcana. So there's just so much layer to explore that, yeah, Kingdom Hearts can still hold my interest even after almost 2 decades now, almost. Yeah, almost 2 decades now, because Kingdom Hearts 3 is almost, 2 decades old. I don't want to say 2 decades old. Fuck, I didn't say that. It's over a decade old. Granted, yes, we got updates, installments, and whatnot, but it still almost is the same game in its core. It's just, okay, we did a few quality of life stuff. We did some few balance changes here or there. Not to the point where, holy shit, the game changed completely. No, the game's still 80% of what it is. Like, if you go on the Arcana Heart Wikipedia, you can look at Arcana Heart 6 stars, which is just the update of Arcana Heart 3, which came out years ago. And it's like, good portion of that information is at least 70% still relevant. Maybe a few changes here or there, but it's still 70% relevant. Maybe I gotta account for now new strategies or techniques that maybe you are patched out or added into the new game, but it's still relevant. Regardless, Arcana is an old game that can still hold my attention. And in fact, even though I was getting upset with Phantom Breaker Omnia in its current state, when I finally got my hands on Dungeon Fighter Duel and then tried to revisit King of Fighters 15 and other games, I'm like, I rather will be playing Phantom Breaker Omnia, because there's still quite a few bits to explore. Phantom Breaker Omnia is an open game. Dungeon Fighter Duel is not open. It's pretty much just who you play, and you play within restrictions. You play with the restrictions that we put into this game. And in fact, I'm gonna get back to the main point I was saying about why I said I wasn't really enjoying fighting games. We're right now in a state where a lot of companies now are just making fighting games to try to get newer people into it, which is great. I don't hate that. I like that we're trying to get people to fighting games, but I feel how we're currently doing it is just not entertaining for me. Granted, I guess that just means these games aren't for me, but I feel it's just not. Well, here's the thing: one, Phantom Breaker is a game that was made for people who are not used to fighting games, and they did it by just we made everything very accessible, and also we just opened up the game's mechanics fully. Like there are right now people still even seeing videos of Phantom Breaker and Seija's video of Will It Kill and laughing like, oh man, you could do that in Phantom Breaker? Oh, you could do that in Phantom Breaker? Oh, that's funny. Because Phantom Breaker is an open game. I feel you are not seeing that in Dungeon Fighter Duel. I'm not seeing that even like Multiple. Like Multiple right now, I couldn't even say I like Multiple type Lumina, because out of all the current currently all the fighting games that just came out, such as King of Fighters 15, now Dungeon Fighter Duel, and I guess even Get Together Stripe, even though I don't care for that, I can say Multiple type Lumina at least has a system that's at least a semblance of its old game, Like, it's still a system game that I still prefer the system where there's a shield mechanic, backdash actually have invincibility, and you can use your meter a lot because you get meter into the game. When it's still open. It's not as open as the old game, but it's at least still open. So I can at least appreciate Type Lumina, even if I'm not anxious to go back and play it immediately. Because right now I don't really like any of the characters of the game. I play Noelle, but do I care for Noelle? Not really. It's just rather, okay, well, I can kind of play how I want through you, Noelle. So I'm okay with playing her, but I don't really enjoy her that much. I mean, well, waifu, I guess you could say she's waifu. At least she's not a teen. But I digress. Where the fuck am I going with this now? Where was I going? Anyways, yeah. So now I'm starting to feel where Nate was coming from, where okay, fighting games really just not doing it because they're not doing anything new. So now I'm like, well, how can I still enjoy fighting games right now? Well, I still found some games I was enjoying. Like I played Dual Soul: The Last Bearer. I still think that game is pretty good and interesting. Am I jumping on the bits to play it a lot? Not really, but And someone also randomly say, hey, wanna play some Dual Souls? You know what, sure, I'll come around. Someone actually did do it, but I said, nah, not really, because at that time, I guess I wasn't really willing to play fighting games, but I'm willing to go back to other games. I want to go play Fighting ES Lair. I want to play Dual Soul. I want to play fucking Cyberbots and whatnot. I want to play Cyberbots. I want to play fucking old Melted Blood, Under the Ember. I'm playing fucking Blaze Blue, and I really don't love Archer fighting games like that, but I almost want to play those games. My computer, console, yeah. Well, fuck it, too late, whatever. Yeah, I'm basically want to find myself going to old games because old games were not as restrictive as you would think compared to now. They were a lot more open, but maybe at the same time they were made for fighting game fans, I guess. I don't know if I really want to say that, but that's kind of at least what I'm thinking or feeling. Because none of these games just feel like they're made for people who want to play, explore, and get good at fighting games. It's something that's just made to just be another product just to engage with, but not actually become invested with, if I'm making myself clear. In fact, I'm probably talking out of my ass, but yeah, I don't feel invested into the game. The thing that's making me invested into playing Dungeon Fighter Duels, I want to play one of my friends who wants to play this game, and obviously, because I still want to compete, I want to win and beat him. So yeah, I'm learning my Lost Warriors bread and butter. I'm learning Crusader. Well, I do think Crusader is a very cool character and whatnot, but outside of a cool character, if I really want to learn more of the lore, I could just go watch fucking whatever. Regardless, sorry. I play those two characters because they at least tackle some of my issues with Dungeon Fighter Duels. So I guess maybe I'm going. What are my issues with Dungeon Fighter Duels? One, alright, defensive mechanics are pretty much fucking bare bones to non-existence, which is personally a disappointment, personally, for me. Does that mean the game needs more defensive mechanics? Not necessarily, per se. I don't know if I can really say that. That's what everybody say the game needs. Ironically, I did say, oh, I don't think we need more defensive mechanics in Dungeon Fighter Duels. But that's also was on the pretense that, like, well, we didn't have a training mode. We didn't learn the proper counterplay for certain things and whatnot. But now that we do have a training mode, and now we actually can develop some counterplay, I want to go far to say that Dungeon Fighter Duel needs more defensive mechanic, but rather I feel there needs to be more interesting interactions to be had. Because right now the game is looking like it's boiling down to pretty much who can lock down who the longest and then kill them for that. And then the person has to decide, well, do I want to use my meter to ground castle to get out of this situation, that situation or not. It's, and in fact, that's the other thing. The reason I could probably also deal with Dungeon Fighter Duel, for starters, the game has long combos. The combos are excessively long to the point I am not really crazy about the game, per se. Now, that's not to say I never played long combo fighting games before, but I stopped playing Power Rangers Battle for the Grid because how excessively long the combos are, which makes the games last long, which, because I'm so disengaged at the point of playing, I just don't care to keep sticking around to keep playing it, personally for me. And Dungeon Fighter Duel has long combos, and the only reason I can probably even stand it is like, alright, I play Crusader. Crusader sorta has long combos, but also his long combos are brain dead to like, hey, did I get it confirmed? Cool, let me do it install. Now I'm gonna just spam my loop heavy loop for a good minute and then done. Lost Warrior, he does have long combos. Actually, no, he doesn't technically have long combos per se. Rather, he has high damaging combos. Is more like it. Like, he's not pressing as many buttons as other characters, but he's giving the same damage as those other characters. Though the trade-off for the character is the fact that all his buttons are slow, and he doesn't seem to establish neutral very well. Or rather, he only gets access to the long combos once he's in awakening mode. Otherwise, his combos are also very short, but he does damage. Like when I did a simple, alright, heavy attack. Sorry, not heavy attack. When I did a medium to a heavy attack to a special, I did at least 200 already. While other characters, that will barely break 100, or it broke like maybe 120. But then again, they could do more hits to extend that combo, so they had to do more hits to do the damage. So going back to what I said again, the reason I can even probably stand playing Dungeon Fighter Duel is the fact that besides I want to play with one of my friends, Dungeon Fighter Duel, or at least the characters I play, lets me not have to worry about the things I don't like. I don't want to have to worry about long combos. Lost Warrior and Crusader don't help me not to worry about the long combos. I want defensive options. Lost Warrior does have a frame 1 counter, and he can't combo from that counter. So that's one good defensive option for that. And then Crusader, he has armor, counter, and a reversal. So even in the case that, let's say, Dungeon Fighter Duel does have poor defensive mechanics, I'm also playing a character who's defensively driven, so I can more or less be happy with that. But now that pretty much means I'm pretty much only going to enjoy Dungeon Fighter Duel if I'm playing those two characters. I played a few other characters. I didn't really feel too much about Ghostblade. I didn't care too much for Vanguard outside the fact that, okay, I could do longer strings, but not really my character. I didn't care for Enchantress or many of the other characters, to be frank. So my attachment towards Dungeon Fighter Duel is, okay, well, I'm only attached to these two characters, and I don't know. It's just like, if I gotta be stuck just by the characters, I don't want to keep staying on that game. I mean, this is unfortunately my bias of being the person like, well, I like my games having good system mechanics over being a character type of game, per se. And I guess the reason I don't like playing games like that is it's so difficult, hard to find characters that I like to play, because I had to learn that I'm an all-ball in the fighting game community, because I keep saying, oh, I like defensive mechanics. And people immediately assume, oh, so you like to zone and keep out. It's like, not necessarily. I don't want to be keep out. I just like to have the ability to dismantle my opponent's offense so I can at least, if anything, punish people. And apparently that's not what defensive is. Many people think defensive is basically playing completely low risk to the point where you try to always disengage with the opponent, which, to be fair, I am starting to lean towards keep away characters, or rather characters who can run away. I'm sorry, is there a difference between keep away or run away? Not really sure. Regardless, I am starting to develop that sort of, but it's usually not my go-to of I want to play a keep away character per se. I'm now going towards that route when I can't find another defensive, a defensive wall. There you go. I like to play wall-like characters, if you will. And I think I can even say Lost Warrior is something of a wall. Or don't say Lost Warrior. No, let's say Crusader is a wall. Regardless, I like characters who don't try to move that much, or rather, they can do a good job of punishing the opponent for mistakes. That is what I really like. And that's not a very common play style, from what I understand, in games in general, especially in anime games, which is maybe that's my fault for constantly playing anime fighting games. But what else do I got? Well, what else can I go to that's, I guess, fighting games that's not anime? I mean, there are the indie games, which I've been trying to warm up to a few of the indie games. Like, I do like Arcus Chroma. There is Murphy, which I have not played long enough to really say whether I hate or dislike it. I appreciate it, but I also don't particularly love it. I guess maybe because I am playing the character King Ro, but sometimes I just want to try some other character or try other things, or the game may be a bit too complex for me to try to appreciate. I don't know. There's a lot of time I try to play the game, I just kind of like, don't want to stick on to this. But Dual Souls, I could play a bit more longer. Kind of almost the same thing with, unfortunately, Punch Planet. I think Punch Planet is a great fighting game. I would stand by saying it's a great fighting game. I do like its system mechanics, even though it's not exactly system mechanics driven. Like, that's definitely a character specialist fighting game. And because of that, I haven't really stuck on it. I play Tiara, who's pretty interesting, but that's about as far as it goes. They did introduce another character who might be more my play style, but I just kind of like, barely invest into it. While Arcus Chroma, they definitely they have interesting mechanics already in the game that I like, with the one, they have a full chain system. That's a full chain. Well, they have a system that seems very reminiscent to Rebeat and Melting Blood, which I like. or first-person fighting games in general, they don't have a jump in the game. They don't have a jump function in the game, so it's all about either doing left or right stuff. I want to say left or right, not left or right. The game's interesting. That's what I said. Arceus Coma is a new fighting game, and it does interesting thing. Murphy, not so much that it does interesting thing, but rather it takes some established thing and just kind of turns them on their head, which I still think is pretty okay in its own right. I mean, I'll say the bubble mechanic is pretty interesting. It does seem to have layers of a lot of micromanaging of different mechanics. Actually, Dual Souls definitely does that very harshly, but Dual Souls also is, I feel, is more approachable because it's only like 3 buttons. Murphy is 4 buttons, and because almost every button does a function, Murphy does feel a bit overwhelming compared to Dual Souls, where there's more system mechanic micromanaging, while Murphy, I feel like there's a lot of button combination management, and that just kind of, you know, I can say this. I also probably just don't like how Murphy feels and movement, but I'm also willing to say that I think I need to play the game a bit more to say that the movement is bad. And in fact, no, I'm not going to say the movement is bad. I'm going to say the movement is not to my taste. That much I'm going to say. The movement is not to my taste. But shoot, we're going 30 minutes now. Did I even get to my point I was saying? Dear. Well, actually, yeah. Right now, fighting games are just not doing the best of holding my attention. Even right now, we got Dragon Ball FighterZ that just dropped a new patch, which did make things a bit more interesting. But when I couldn't get to play with the person who I wanted to play because they're fucking dodging me, I lost interest in playing Dragon Ball FighterZ. Maybe there was rollback, I probably would have been more interested. No, I don't want to play Dragon Ball FighterZ online. I don't want to play that game online. And in fact, a lot of games I kind of just don't want to play online because, alright, I can say this. I love Blade Stranger. I don't think I would want to play Blade Stranger online. That is not a game that is online friendly, even with it being a simple game. In fact, it's like doing Blade Stranger. But I can still open myself up to Blade Stranger a bit more. Actually, no, here's what I want to say. I'm going on a tangent. Fuck me. Anyways. Blade Stranger, I still feel is right now is kind of the best game of this generation that came out, because it is a fighting game that is made to be accessible. Because it did do that with, you only got 4 buttons in the fighting game. It's only 4 buttons: light, heavy, unique, and special. Characters are very unique, but there's also a good universal system behind it with like one dash having possibility. And there you go. I'm going to test it. Stop. Blade Stranger characters feel diverse. I feel the game is actually pretty damn fucking balanced. I think it is the most balanced fighting game of this generation. I would say that. In fact, I'll fuck that today. Blade Stranger is the most balanced fighting game in this current generation, hands down. I'll stand by that. Stand by that. Probably and even when it's on release, Blade Stranger was pretty decent. It's unplayable on all platforms besides Xbox One, unfortunately. It doesn't have a cross-platform, unfortunately. It doesn't have rollback. And in fact, even not having rollback, I could have forgiven, but there's no rematch function. And that's probably what really hurts the game the most. No rematch function. Like, I did play Dungeon Fighter Duel like last week against somebody, and I got my ass handed to me, so trounced or whatever. I got wrecked, but thank God I was able to at least run back multiple games. Like I saw when I recorded, I played about an hour's worth of the game. Now, if I had to keep losing and then keep getting pulled out into the menu, I would have got frustrated. Because here's actually what did happen this weekend. There was a Carnal Hearts weekly that happens on Sunday. There was 4 people in the lobby, and I was one of those 4 people. And while I was trying to get back adjusted to Carnal Hearts, I got immediately frustrated with the, losing, getting out, waiting for my turn, going to the menu, constantly have to press the start button, because even if I'm not playing, when you get to the results screen, you have to press a button at the results screen to skip the results screen. If I don't skip the results screen, then the whole lobby stops. So I can't just, be idle and wait till my turn comes up. You still have to be, if anything, active on the game and whatnot. And when in reality, I just like, well, I just want to keep playing, or whatever. Yeah, I want to just open a room, play with somebody, and just keep getting some matches in. At least do that personally. I'm not saying I'm against the idea of sitting and waiting, but that really works better in the offline environment. And I'm starting to understand why now. Why people say it's more important to play fighting games in the local environment. Not because that is the most optimal way to play it, but because it does seem like fighting game is more of an interaction experience. It is a social experience. Like the best time I can figure myself while playing Phantom Breaker is when after playing against somebody, me and him just talked about Phantom Breaker for almost hours on end. Also about Asuka, the person who dodged me on Dragon Ball, even though I lost a lot. The most entertaining was talking about Dragon Ball FighterZ and our matches with that person. And yeah, I'm starting to realize that, yeah, fighting game very much is a social thing. And even with good online, I don't think it can ever hold a candle to. No, it never could hold a candle to offline. But now I'm trying to see why people were so desperate to get back to offline events, because I'm now tired of dealing with UI, terrible UI, which unfortunately we're still in this state. Fighting games have terrible UI. I love Blade Stranger. Do I think Blade Stranger UI is good? Fuck all no. Fuck all no. Is it bearable? Yes. Is it good? No. Not in my opinion. It's not a good UI. It's not a good interface to deal with. Blade Stranger is a great game when you're already in playing the game. When you're not playing the game, the UI can be fucking and suffering, especially when it comes to the training mode and how the training mode operates. No, I'll stop myself. I'll take that out. I think I'm just now being upset for saying this. I will still say I can deal with Phantom Break. That's a Phantom Break. I can still deal with Blade Strangers more than I can deal with, let's say, Phantom Breaker's training mode, which I love Phantom Breaker, and boy, I hate interacting with that UI. So yeah, actually, let's go ahead and close up with this thing. Like what Nate Teresa says, fighting games are fucking up. They're floundering. They're not holding my attention, and I don't know. I didn't think I'd ever get to this state, but there are a lot of times where I'm just like, I'd rather play an action game or some other game than fighting game, because I at least feel like I'm getting to explore. That's explore. I feel those games are forcing me to engage with it, while fighting games, I don't feel engaged with. At least the current game, I don't care for Guilty Gear Strive. I hate Guilty Gear Strive menu. I hate the fact that I gotta wait almost 2 minutes just to get into the game, just to start playing with the damn fucking game. And then a lot of times the game is forced on just close quarter interaction, no interesting defensive play to be had, just who can get in there and start being aggressive. Not interesting for me. That's the same thing with Judge Fighter Duel. It really is who can land the first hit and start wailing on their point the longest. I don't want to say that. Sorry, I get that. I get the person that Judge Fighter Duel is very similar to that. And I'm kind of surprised by that, considering this is 18, and 18 had at least a bit more interesting things going on when you look at their other titles, such as Fate Unlimited Codes, which had both a parry mechanic, push block mechanic, a burst mechanic, and other things and whatnot. But at the same time, these games, both Ultimate Marvel, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, and Fate Unlimited Codes, these are fighting games that are, bar none, very intimidating for new people. So Dungeon Fighter Duel obviously was made for people who are not fighting game fans. They said it themselves. And how they're doing it is not just, they're not making games, they're not going the route of making the game accessible and then also understandable. They're going the route, technically they are doing that, but they're doing that by, we make sure you think about the game system as little as possible. Thus, you don't need to worry about thinking too much, think about too many elements, which that's not what I come to fighting games because of all the different elements that need to be considered. Yes, I say I like to play defensive methodical, but I also like to, be like, oh, well, this person I'm facing has a good missile game. I need to handle that missile well, or not be put in a position to begin with. Or rather, I can be, well, I could use this defensive mechanic to try to challenge that, but then I could probably use this one for a different scenario or different reward. There's always a lot of, I want to say intricacy. Yeah, there's a lot of intricacies between what I can and what I cannot do. And, or rather, the game feels open up to where I can do things. Dungeon Fighter Duel in its current state feels like it is a game where someone establishes a momentum and then it stays being that way for a period of time. And it's just not engaging to me. I'm sorry, I did went on a fucking tangent. So I'm going to go ahead and end it right here for now. But I guess the final point is, yeah, I'm losing interest in fighting games. They're not holding my attention, and or at least the newer games. And this keeps going the route we're currently going to go. Shit, I might just fucking stop too, just like Nate's doing. Or I might just start doing other games. I mean, I was told I should have already been doing that, but yeah, I think I might go to that. Alright, thanks for chatting with me. Y'all take it easy.